No, I don't need that. Thank you, Karina. Well, it's great to be here at the Brooklyn Museum. I work at a different museum, the American Museum of Natural History. How many of you have been there? I'm a curator there. I'm curator of the Hall of Ocean Life. I was curator of Power of Poison. We've got another exhibition coming up in the spring on animal superpowers. But what you may not know is that the Museum of Natural History is also basically a library of biodiversity. Behind the scenes at the museum, we have stacks and stacks and stacks of specimens. If any animal out there anywhere has a species name, it's because somebody gave it a species name, and there's a specimen sitting in a natural history museum someplace. My passion happens to be leeches, and I am the leech guy. I'd like you all to sort of just think in your heads right now, what is a leech and what do you think about leeches? And then I'm going to try to change your mind. So first, let me reinforce what I think your view of leeches is.
Out of the swamp's depths appears horrifying, mysterious creatures, thirsting for blood.
So that was the African queen, and almost every generation has a thought about leeches that is black, slimy things living in swamps. In fact, they're really pretty. They're really beautiful. You've got the European medicinal leeches on either side with beautiful emerald green and ruby patterns. That very large, giant Amazonian leech lying gracefully on a friend's arm is from South America. Some of the leeches that are the most pretty are in fact leeches that live in a marine environment. Most of these leeches feed on sharks. The one in the middle feeds on sea turtles. We don't know what these frilly things are, but they're beautiful, aren't they? What most people don't realize is that there's a whole bunch of different leeches out there in the world that don't feed on blood at all.
Feeling up and down the worm's body, it searches for an end. Then it starts to suck. The leech sucks its prey down like spaghetti, crushing the worm with its muscular throat.
Okay, so this talk is not for the squeamish, of course. One of the things that we do at the museum is we work out the evolutionary relationships of various organisms. Leeches, it turns out, are very closely related to oligochaetes, like earthworms. That's a very giant earthworm you see in the upper right of the screen. The things that are closely related to leeches are actually tiny little ectocommensal worms on all things crayfish. Now, people probably know that leeches have been involved in medicine for a very long time. Going back almost 1,000 years, leeches were used for bloodletting for everything from hysteria to obesity and a lot of other things that it really didn't work for. It wasn't medieval. It was actually very popular in the 1800s because this guy in the upper left, Broussais, who was a surgeon for Napoleon, really popularized it and used upwards of 400,000 leeches at one hospital. Well, that happened quickly, in Paris. So much so that leeches were extirpated from a lot of their habitat and were the cause of some of the first conservation movements for animals anywhere. Now, there is a legitimate use for leeches, and you're seeing it here. People can do microsurgery and reattach digits, for example, like a finger. The gentleman up there had his finger chopped off by an axe. A guy on the bottom had his ear bit off by a dog. Have you ever noticed it's always a guy? And leeches will remove the pooling blood to promote venous circulation. There are other cases where leeches happen to intersect with medicine. This is a young lady from Scotland who a month ago returned from Vietnam. She had been back in Scotland for a whole month before she realized she had this sliding feeling in her nose. She went to the doctor and they pulled this beautiful specimen of Myxobdella annandalii out of her nose. Now, I think it's Myxobdella annandalii. The problem is that in disgust, she burned it and threw it out. What I wanted to do was study it and find out what species it was. This business of leeches getting involved in mucous membranes of people, we heard about mucous membranes earlier. It's good that we did this after lunch, right? So that's a picture of a leech in someone's eye in India. That's Dinobdella ferox, literally the terrifying, ferocious leech. And there are a bunch of cases of this that happen around the world. There was one that we encountered from Peru, where there was a young boy who had a leech that was stuck up in his nostril. This is an endoscope going up to the back of the sinuses there. And if you look carefully, you'll eventually see the leech that is hanging out, and it'll be pulled out. Now, this leech was amazing because it had the largest teeth of any leech anywhere in the world. You can see the teeth in the middle left over there. And because it had the largest teeth and it was causing pain for these children, we decided to it was a new species and a new genus, and so we aptly named it Tyrannobdella rex. So that we could say that T-Rex is alive and well, feeding on children in the Amazon. When we actually looked at the evolutionary relationships of that species, everything in yellow in that evolutionary tree is in fact a leech that feeds on the mucous membranes of mammals. This isn't a happenstance thing. It's been going on for millions of years. Some of the research that we do actually concerns salivary anticoagulants in leeches that were first used actually in the first human dialysis treatment ever. What we're doing is actually taking these compounds. This is the human coagulation cascade that happens. All of these places in green are where leeches interfere with blood clotting. What we're doing is getting those compounds out of the leeches, working out their evolutionary history to try to find out how that's happened over many millions of years. So, yes, save the music, but please, save the leeches. Thank you. But we're not done. Could my trusty assistant come on stage?
Okay, I think I'm hosting.
Do we have one biting?
I think I have a bunch.
All right, let's take it out gently. Gently. Oh yeah, you got one there.
I got one.
Okay, so this one's not feeding.
Oh, he's not?
No, that one's not feeding.
I feel like it bit me.
Oh, that one's not feeding.
Oh no.
That's okay. Wait.
Okay.
But this one is definitely feeding, and the way I can tell is that when
There's another one over here. Don't forget about that one. Just
you
in
have
case.
three. You have three feeding on you. So what's really cool is that when leeches
feeding on me. Oh, that one just bit me. It kind of hurts.
When
just
leeches
so you know.
are feeding, they go into complete torpor. They're just like drunk with your blood.
Oh look, that guy is like got slime dripping off of him. Is that
mucus?
Is it?
Mucus.
Really?
Yeah, just a little bit, and a little bit of water. So, do you want me to remove them?
You can leave them for a minute. I don't think I want to keep them on for the whole break, but you know.
Do you guys want to see
blood?
blood?
Oh yeah, maybe.
So the way to remove a leech, don't burn a leech because you might miss and burn yourself. Don't salt a leech because it's like putting salt in a wound and it already hurt, right? Just kind of push its face aside like this. There we go. And this. There we go. They usually don't feed from the palm of the hand, but
yeah, my palm
you've got like city hands, huh? All right, now let's turn it over, and we do have a little bit of blood coming here. What's interesting is that because of the anticoagulants, the wound will probably not heal for a couple of hours. So I've got some gauze for you.
Okay, good. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Let's give it a round for Kelly.
Thank you. I don't know.
Here, let's get you some gauze.
Yeah, I'll take the gauze right now. That would be good. Thank you.
There you go. How are the other two?
They're good.
Oh, they're good.
I think I'm all set. Thank you.
Nice.
Well, that was exciting.
Yeah.